That's right. I'm here with Sneaky after his great Jinx game. Congratulations on your win. Now, I want to start off by talking about a couple of things that were changed recently. The Karma got changed and Ardent Sensor were changed. Lemonation used both of them. What are the pros for these?
Karma's always been like a lane dominant champion. You just poke them out, throw lots of, ulted Qs at them, make sure they're taking tons of damage. And then I think the buffs were she gets reduced cooldown on her passive when she like hits people with their spells. So she's a better champion overall. I don't know if she's broken, but seems pretty good for our situation where we wanted to poke them out and just win lane that way.
So a lot of people also want to know, obviously, about the shot calling for Cloud9 because High left, in the transition over to Meteos. Is Meteos still doing the brunt of the shot calling? And, how are you guys transitioning and working through that period?
Yeah, we've kind of appointed him the shot caller. Like, we've had some struggles actually full on listening to him because we were kind of used to the old phase of where everyone would feed information to High, and then he would make the final decision, except Meteos would also be feeding information, so now we have to go to him rather than to High. So it's been a weird dynamic that we're getting used to, and it might take a few more weeks to get fully used to it.
All right, well, you definitely made progress today. Incarnation also had a great game, so that's looking up for you guys. Good luck in the future, and we are going to send it back to the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Kobe. A much-needed victory there for Cloud9 for them to kind of get themselves back on track. And, the first thing I want to point out here is that they had a winning early game. We've only seen that one other time so far, this split from Cloud9.
Yeah, and a lot of that was off of the fact that they were making these early game moves and they were just rotating around. So Cloud9 looked a little bit better in that regard, but there's still a lot of work to be done in their mid game.
Yeah, so I do want to keep on the early game for a little bit because there are two things specifically I looked at. One was the dual lane. I actually just had Sneaky on follow on my computer down here because he's really, really good at League of Legends. So the Sneaky Lemon lane is really cool because they abused Alistar. Even though Alistar's an amazing champion, like TIP had 0 bans against him when they first picked it, ostensibly saying Alistar's the best champion in the game. Alistar does not do anything until he's level 2 or 3. So the first wave gets cleared, and CNA doesn't push it. They go, wait, minion for minion, minion for minion. And then as soon as the second wave shows up, they both walk forward and say, Alistar, you can't engage. We're 2v1ing you. And immediately, Nian and Alistar just run away, Dodo, the other guy, run away and have to hide for like 4 consecutive waves. And CNA never lets up. They're always playing the poke game. They're never getting engaged upon. And so the way they play the lane was super good, and they keep it up. The reason this works is because Meteos is completely holding down Porpoise. Even though he gets 3 buffed, Meteos is ahead in gold the entire time. He even steals camps away, and there's never any threat of a Nunu gank like working. And even though C9 are zoning them out, they're not pushing into the turret. They're not in flash pulverized headbutt range of like getting killed either. So the entire way they're playing this dual lane and building this huge advantage is played pretty much immaculately from 2 different spots in the map.
Yeah, and the fact that you talked about the jungle there, C9, the games that they've lost so far, a lot of it had to do with jungle pressure in the lanes. When there's a Nunu on the enemy team, it's the first time that Cloud9 has to deal with a Nunu on the enemy team. It was actually a boon for them because they're like, oh, this Nunu's not going to show up and be like a Zac, a Zingy, or a Rek'Sai that shows up and crushes our bottom lane. Sneaky got a CS advantage. He was able to transition that. And this is something that I do want to go over and look at Team 8 for a second here. Because Nian, he has not had a CS lead at 10 minutes yet out of all his games so far. This was a lane that they were able to exploit on Cloud9's side and press that advantage. Sneaky did like 1.9 times Nian's damage this game because he grouped up and they played around him and Incarnation, which I thought was just a great formula for Cloud9 is unlocking Incarnation to make plays.
Yeah, so let's identify kind of where C9 is going in terms of developing their play style, because as Jat has mentioned previously, they need to make a decision. Is Incarnation being brought into the team in order to replace High and be a new High, right? Be the initiator, be kind of a leader for the team, or does the team need to readjust around Incarnation? And here, he seemed to have stepped up, being the initiator very often with those Varus ultimates.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to look at a player. So one is the impact the player has on the team and the impact the champion has on the game. And as far as initiating, I agree. The first time we started talking to Incarnation, he says, I want to be in people's face. I want to make plays. I want to do big things. And AP Kaga is good, but he's not exactly that. I mean, sometimes it can be, but him playing something a bit more engaged focused like a Varus, and if he wants to start playing the Dianas or the Victors of the world where you're kind of in the thick of things, that seems to be sort of a good place for him to be. And the fact that Incarnation is getting better every single day. He faced up against Slushi, who was pretty much like the best force of teammate all last split, and actually is like a well-respected mid laner, and we have Incarnation winning lane against him. Like, okay, cool. You won a lane that's supposed to be pretty close against a good player. Finally, Incarnation's starting to do good things. This is all, you know, a bunch of good signs for C9.
Yeah, the Emperor's Divide was really heartbreaking there, where it didn't push him back. I was like, what could have happened in that universe where it actually hit? Screw my pen. Anyway, what would have happened where that would have hit? What would Incarnation have done? He probably would have flashed away. He wouldn't have had that later. So Slushy's misplay there really opened up the game for Incarnation, and that they didn't leave up the pressure there. They were just like, let's keep going, let's keep fighting. And then Meteos shows up mid, and they played around mid lane. And I think this is going to become a winning formula for C9, is unlock the bottom lane, have Meteos camp around those sides. Because it used to be go top, camp for balls, unlock balls for TP plays. Yeah. Now I feel like playing around mid and bottom is something you're going to have to get used to, because it seems to work.
Yep, it'll be very interesting to watch how they develop the champion pools in terms of unlocking that bot lane as just a straight up 2v2, so that Meteos can pay more attention to the mid lane and helping Incarnation out. Don't go anywhere though. After the break, we'll see if TSM can tame Team Dragon Knights. North American LCS returns after this.
You'd get like 50,000.
Stream on stage. If you stream on stage.
Got a 420 donation from They're on Baron right now. Go check it. Hey, yo, Sneaky, look to rotate. Thank you for the donation.
May save his life. Oh! He's got just about 10 HP. And the absolute zero zones out the fight just enough, but he stays in range for the piercing arrow.
Yo, Azir, jump in. Kill Azir. I'm helping Sneaky. Fizz is in the back.
I'm helping.
We got Fizz. Push mid.
Cali Troll still has a good amount of damage, but Sneaky has the peel. He has the kite. He has the quadra kill. Cloud9 take down teammate.